I want to go back now to our set of individual eggs to say, now, if I buy this Resi 10 index, what exactly is Satrix or RMB or ABSA doing with my money? All right, how are they investing it? So what I've given you here are the constituents of the Resi 10 index at the moment and their current index weights. This kind of data will be available on any fact sheet. So if you pick up the fact sheet for an ETF, this kind of data will be on there. So I encourage you to go and look at it. What it means is the following. The biggest weight in the index is BHP Billiton, a global diversified mining company, and the current weight in the index is 43.5%. That means for every 100 Rand that you invest in this ETF, ABSA will go, or Barclays will go and spend 43 Rand 50 on BHP Billiton. So it says what percentage of your money is going into each individual one of those 10 stocks. And you'll see that the big companies are at the top because they have a large market cap, and the smaller companies are at the bottom. And that's how the market cap weighting works effectively. And I'm showing you this one first because the Resi 10 is a particularly concentrated index. It's got a very, very high concentration of BHP Billiton at 43%. It's in fact quite abnormal compared to a lot of our other indices. And that really reflects the reality that BHP Billiton dominates the resource market. So if you were to go and buy all of those shares, it would cost you twice as much as if you had to buy all of Anglo-American shares. So BHP Billiton is a much bigger company than Anglo-American, therefore more of your money goes into that individual counter. Okay. To compare to the Industrials 25 index, I've just given you the top 10 biggest companies here, and you'll see that these 10 together add up to about 83% of the index. So these 10 companies out of the 25 dominate the index, and the other 15 are then only about 17% on top of that. And you'll see the concentration's a lot better. So SAB, again, if you invested 100 Rand, 18 Rand 70 would be spent on SAB, 14 Rand on Richemont, and another 14 Rand on Naspers. And that's how your money would be allocated. So you see you're immediately getting this diversification effect. Your money would go into each of these individual counters. And finally, the financials, which as you can guess is mostly dominated by the banks. So Standard Bank at the top, you'll see First Rand in there, Barclays, Nedbank, and RMB. Two property companies, so Growth Point and Into Properties. Into is a UK real estate company, so you get some international property exposure, and Growth Point is a local company. Sanlam's in there and Old Mutual, so you get the life insurance exposure as well. So I think by math, and I'm not too worried about these numbers individually, but when you pick up to say, I want to invest in this index, you need to look at a few things. You need to look at this to say, where's my money going? All right. Then at a high level, what are the index rules? What is it measuring? Is it measuring financials or big companies or small companies or risky companies, whatever that is? And then it is very helpful to look at this kind of graph for your performance, and not necessarily, the trend as much, because we wouldn't expect past performance to be carried on into the future. So we generally say you can't use past performance as a prediction for future performance. But what is generally interesting is the spikiness of the graph. So the more spiky the graph, the more volatile it is, the more ups and the more downs. So if you're investing for very short term into a very spiky or volatile fund, you run the risk of losing a lot of money or gaining a lot of money. Whereas if the line is more flat, and if you see a cash line, for example, a money market account will end up much lower, but it will be effectively a straight line. So there's no risk of loss, there's no downside. You get your 5% every year reliably without any risk. So if you need to pull your money out next year to buy a car, a house, whatever you need to buy, and that happens, you have a serious problem. But if you're investing for your children's education and you're investing your 100 Rand a month or 1,000 Rand a month and you've got a 20-year window, then you don't want to get the money market return. You want to get the bigger return, and you don't mind the corrections over time. All right, let me leave you with my details.